If it hurts, you ain't breaks, no hits, you know let us put on more steam. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, through the games after this win in. First you again, we're here for the first minute. Carry a lot of people there for 60 minutes.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Man, we blessed to do this. We blessed to wake up. We blessed to be standing by each other. We cannot take these opportunities for granted. There's people that wish they'll be doing what we was doing. There's people that call us crazy for doing what we do. But they don't understand. Every time we touch this grass, it's a certain mentality you gotta have. And you can't just turn it on. We gotta wake up with it. We gotta train it. We ought to make each other better. I need you. I need you.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. And I'm saying, woo, right here.
Doesn't have to be perfect, ain't gonna be perfect. We go compete for 60 freaking minutes. All right, enjoy the opportunity, enjoy the environment, and then go play our butts off, play for one another, and have a hell of a lot of fun. Everybody got me?
Yes,
all right.
I know what I came here to do, and it's my job to go and get that done.
Make the decision. You're either a Vol or you're not, through thick and thin.
But you know what? Let's talk a little Vols. That is not me trying to take any shine away from the phenomenal channel Talking Vols, and my guy Boogie Bentley runs. So shout out to them. But let's talk a little Vols here.
Good Friday morning. Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. He's Coach Jay. Man, it's been a minute, Coach. It's been a minute since we've had the coffee, a morning stream. Somebody just dropped a super chat and said a morning stream in March. We're back, man. How much do you love spring ball? Spring ball is here.
I love spring ball, man. I love spring ball. I'm fired up, man. The smell of the grass, man, when they cut the grass for football. Birds chirping, early morning practice. You just got out of the slog of weight room, working your tail off, running, PT. You put your helmet on, man. You strap it up. Just the noises of the field, man. I get giddy just thinking about Boogie. Put me in, Coach. I'm ready to play because I love some spring football.
I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to talk about football. What are you guys up to? Let's see who is in the chat here. Let's see who arrived early. Let me scroll back up here. Ron the Don is here. Ron the Don. What do you call him?
Don.
What do you call him? It's the winter. What's the people that go south for the winter? They go north for the summer.
Like summer birds, winter birds. Is
that what they are? Is that what Ron the Don is?
It's early here.
Dude, I was thinking about that this morning when I rolled out of bed, got to sleep till I woke up, didn't have to set an alarm clock, came down here, started putting some notes together. I'm like, poor Coach Jay, man. These morning streams, they suck. You got to get up, got to get rolling early. Ron the Don is here, though. What is up? Chuck's in the house. What is up, Chuck? Right top time talking about that baseball team, talking about repeating. Everybody's high on that baseball team right now, but wait till we get to SEC play. Then everybody's going to be ready to fire Tony Vitello. David Burgess is here. Go Balls. Good morning, Vol Nation. We got some super chats. We appreciate you guys. Dave Morrison, been a member for 21 months. William Bozarth, been a member for 14 months. We appreciate those memberships. Ron the Don for 28 months. Says, let's go, Boogie and Coach. Yeah, I see cleats. I see grass. It's time for the Vols to kick some cash. Starts today. Let's go. We talking practice. Yeah, we talking practice. If you're not a member, you can fix that. Hit that join button down below. It's only $1. We would greatly appreciate it. Strength in numbers. We appreciate our members of this channel. Timothy for 5 says, don't forget to get your tickets, folks. I got mine. I got my tickets for the orange and white game as well. Did you know? I will get into that in just a second. Dylan Elam for 5. We got a morning stream in March. Text a buddy. We are back in business. We appreciate you, Dylan. Good old Nate Pruitt for 10. Cover charge. Boogie. Howdy, Coach Jay. Howdy, Vols fam. God bless. Go Vols. Get those door fees, fellas. Good old Nate Pruitt. Hope things are going well for Nate. He's got some stuff going on, family stuff. He'll be back. He will be back soon. But prayers going up for you, Nate. Dakota for 10. Hola, senor. Where have you been, Dakota? It's good to see you back in the house, my friend. Thank you for the super chat. Billy Todd for 2. GBO, good morning, Coach. Good morning, Boogie. Appreciate you, Billy. Dakota's been a member for 35 months. I can't even do the math to figure out how long that is. What is that? Like 3 years, almost 3 years of being a member uninterrupted. We appreciate you, Dakota. He says, yep, Tim Rice for 2 years. Appreciate you, Tim Rice. Thank you for the membership. Let's see. Let's talk about the orange and white game because today was practice number 1, right? And it was half speed. It was a kind of slow pace, but get your feet wet. We got 15 of these things. It's going to lead up to the orange and white game. Let's see, Vol Football Twitter put this out there. Tickets went on sale this morning at 10 a.m. Now I got my tickets, limited capacity, 45,000. That's still a lot, and I don't know how many people usually show up for spring games, but 45,000. SEC, I thought this was interesting. Hubs put this out on the War Room this morning. SEC no longer requires you to put your spring game on TV. So this will not be televised. The only way to see the spring game is to be there in person. Instead, they're going to air like a 30-minute all-access type of show. What are your thoughts on that? Like, I get it. The orange and white game, it's vanilla. It's dumbed down. Me and Dauber were just texting about it. But it's an opportunity, man. Tickets are expensive. So if you can get a ticket for $10, you can take your family. It used to be meet and greet, meet the coaches, meet the players, get autographs. It was all about families and the kids. And we could be trending away from orange and white game, period. But what are your thoughts on it not being televised?
As a coach, I love it. I don't want it televised. I don't even want to do it. Like, it is a coach. I want no part of it. I don't want to do a spring game. I don't want to pretend to play football. I don't want to have to script things. As a fan, I would truly miss it, right? Like, it's our first little glimpse of something, man, and you've just been starved and you're hungry and you want to devour some football, and you finally get like a little appetizer. You know, when you're starving, to bring you a little appetizer, it's like not enough, and you're like, man, come on, where's the food? That's how it feels. But it's got to be more geared towards the fans if you're going to keep it. I would like to see it go back to that, where you can get on the field, where you can bring your son and your daughter, and they can shake hands with the cheerleaders. They can shake hands with Nico. They can meet Coach Hype. They can get a picture signed. They can get this or that done. I do like when it's geared towards fans, when it's a family day. Maybe you have, the full Vol Village going on. You got some bounce houses and all the little fun little games and stuff the kiddies can play. I think it should be a family atmosphere, but as a coach, I like keeping the football safe, under wraps, and away from spying eyes.
Yeah, I know we talked about this last night doing our off season a little bit for the Patreon Dynasty. Like, it just seems like they're going away. Like, are they going to go to NFL mini camps type stuff during the summer? I wish they would leave it alone. I wish they would leave the spring games, spring camps, leave it exactly the way it is, and just kill that transfer portal window post spring. I think that solves everything. Let these coaches know, all right, when the season's over in December, January, February, whenever your season ends, when the season is over, I know this is what my roster is going to look like next year. I don't have to worry about Ricky Gibson holding me hostage. I don't have to worry about all these negotiations or guys leaving, losing depth, right? Like, and not all jobs are won in the spring. Most of them are won in fall camp. But if I can kind of see where I'm at and I want to transfer out because of lack of playing time, now as a coach, I got to figure out how to keep depth in a wide receiver room or depth on the offensive line. I think the answer is to not just go away from the spring games. The answer is to just kill that post-spring transfer portal window.
That would be wonderful if they do that. I think everyone wants to see one portal and one portal only. I mean, I know we all want probably even larger reform across the board, but at the very bare minimum, let's knock it down to just one transfer portal window per season. You know what else would be fun, Boogie? If they let like the loudest, most boisterous Negavols who called the team trash all the time to play a 7-on-7 game versus the actual starters, where they could show off their immense football knowledge and skill and acumen.
I'm down for that. Sign me up for that. Maybe we could stream that on the Talkin VAWLS network. The SEC network doesn't require it, but the Talkin VAWLS network does. Vintage Create, I've been a member for 26 months. We appreciate you, Crystal. Dakota for 5 says, I just want no injuries, want to come out of this orange and white game fully healthy. Marcus Rush for 5, morning streams are back. We're so back. GBO, appreciate you, Marcus. We're gonna be streaming every Wednesday night, 7 o'clock throughout the course of spring camp. Sunday nights are still gonna be the same. We'll mix in some recruiting stuff, some watch parties. Right at the top, time for 10. Says great to catch a morning stream that doesn't require aiming, and we got locked on Talkin VAWLS this morning. Can I get a Ric Flair? Well, we'll play a clip.
Mean! Woo! My God! Gene!
I love that he spelled his name the proper way, Richard Flair, not Flair, the real way, the shoot way, for those that know. Anyway, yeah, locked on Talkin VAWLS this morning. Kaner texted me yesterday. He's like, Boogie, what are you doing? I was like, I was sitting on the couch watching TV. He's like, all right, I'm going to send you the link. You want to jump on? 2 minutes later, we were recording Locked On Talkin VAWLS. No notes, no plans, just two dudes talking ball. That's why I love jumping on with Kaner, because that's what it's all about. All right, what do we got? We got 133 people watching live. Smash that thumbs up, share out the link, let people know we are hanging out talking spring ball. We would appreciate that support. But let's talk about some of the storylines going on right now in spring camp. And I guess let's start with the big one, because this came out yesterday. Pete Nakos tweets out an update on Ricky Gibson. I've talked to death about this thing. Tennessee cornerback, this is from Pete Nakos. Ricky Gibson remains with the team, expected to go through spring practice. He was on the football field today. Says last month Gibson told On3 he was planning to enter the portal. As of now, it appears the cornerback is staying with Tennessee through spring and will not enter the portal. He never left the team, going through winter workouts, and will be with the Vols when they open spring practice on Friday. What are your thoughts on this whole Ricky Gibson situation, start to finish?
I mean, I think I'm with everyone, right? I think it just shines the light on the greater, overarching problem here that we have in college football, right? There's just no rules. There's absolutely no rules. There's nothing to have oversight to hold kids to a contract. So they're free to do whatever they want, right? So if I'm free to do whatever I want, I'm free to get as much money as I want, and you're going to take advantage of that, right? That's just the nature of the beast when you have no rules. The one thing I will say is I still think it could have been handled a little more quietly by Ricky's team. I get the thought behind making it public, but we don't know, but did he try to do it behind closed doors and the Vols told him no?
Right, and this put more
and so
pressure
he made
on.
it, and that this put more pressure on. I don't know the answer to that, or did he just come out and do it? So it's even hard to judge him based on that, because we don't know the answer to that question. But I think as fans, we all wish that stuff like this happened behind closed doors, because make no mistake, this is happening all over the country. It's not like Ricky Gibson is the only kid who threatened to leave after spring if he didn't get more money, right? Or after, in the middle of a transfer portal period. This is happening all the time. So, but I get it. It tugs at your heartstrings. We all grew up falling in love with Tennessee football, with the power T, right? And it means so much to us. And when we run across players that live and breathe Tennessee football, like a Will Brooks, that would lay down and die for Tennessee football in that power T if you asked them to, it's hard for fans to see a situation like this and not feel gross over it, right? To not be disappointed in it, to go, well, why are you Why are you kind of like being a sleazeball agent and dragging the power tee towards them through the mud? So I get that feeling too. I just also get that there's no rules, and you're going to try to make your money while it's to be made.
And like you said, it's happening not only all over the country, it's happening in this exact locker room. It happened with Boo Carter. It happened with Mike Matthews. It happened with Arian Carter. It happened with a lot of guys. Look, that's part of college football. When the season's over, you're going to sit down and you're going to negotiate. Now, that works two ways here, right? We saw all these wide receivers hit the portal, Nathan Laycock, Chaz Nimrod, all those guys that transferred out. We don't know why. Are they doing it for playing time? Do they know where they stack up against everybody else on the roster? Or did they sit down to negotiate their deal and they said, I want this, and Tennessee said, you're not worth that, so they hit the portal, right? This works two ways. It's the way that college football is right now. The problem, what makes it so bad about Ricky Gibson is why it happened. He already negotiated that deal in December. He was locked in. He was ready to go. Got a pay raise, right? Kudos to Ricky Gibson. That's what it's all about. You deserve it. You earn it. Congratulations. My problem is you're taking advantage of your brother. Forget the power T. Forget Orange. Forget Tennessee. That's your teammate, man. That's your brother on the other side. You were taking advantage of his knee injury to get more money for you. Again, is this Ricky Gibson? Is it agent-driven? Is it the people around him? I don't know. But from a football perspective, as a football fan, I want Ricky Gibson on this roster. We need Ricky Gibson on this football team. And Jason Swain made a great point about it. It's not just about we need help. We need a corner. It's also, look, Jermon McCoy is not going to be going through spring camp. Jermon McCoy is not going to be going through fall camp. We got a whole new room full of wide receivers, young wide receivers that need to be tested. They need to be pushed. Iron sharpens iron. They need that competition on the practice field. So Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley, even Chris Brazel to a certain extent, Amari Jefferson, those guys need Ricky Gibson on the field, and so do we. So I'm glad this is hopefully done, hopefully behind us, and we can move on.
Yeah, hopefully it is. And I think it would be. I don't think Gibson would be on that field if everything wasn't sorted out. Do you, Boogie? Do you honestly believe that he would be out there practicing if they didn't get everything fixed?
No, because, I mean, how many reps are you going to give a guy that if you don't have that confidence that he's going to be?
None. And you don't want him poisoning the rest of the tree either, right? If he didn't get his way and he's mad about it and is just trying to get a couple reps before he leaves, you want that apple nowhere near the bunch if that would have been the case.
A lot of storylines going into the spring. What's another storyline, position group, something you're excited to be looking at, as we get these short little 10-minute windows into practice that BallQuest, Rocky Top Insider, Go Balls 247. What are you watching? What are you excited about? Another storyline.
I am looking most closely, and I know I'm a defensive guy, so this might surprise everyone, but I'm looking at this offensive line. 100%. I think it represents the greatest position that can improve, can't talk early, improve this volunteer football team. We talk about development. You can point towards the offensive line. You talk about Nico growing in his game. We can point towards the offensive line. We talk about the run game and these running backs taking over for the last 2 years, really, really productive running backs. They can greatly help these new running backs, this offensive line. This offensive line is going to be very, very important. I am watching their development with both eyes closely.
I thought David Sanders looked him and Lance Hurd both looked physically fit. They looked the part.
I've got a note here that I noticed about the offensive line is Bennett Warren, Sham Umarov, Lance Hurd, all of them looked really, really trim. I'm talking 40% more trim than they were last year. It jumped off the page to me when watching the video. Because like you said, they're running 80-20s, right? 80% power, 20% speed. But the offensive line just looked really thin and trim. And guess what? You want the offense to go fast, to move fast. You want that Josh Heupel tempo back. Your offensive line has to be in condition to do so. And way too early looks like they at least are in the condition to have a platform to stand on and jump off of.
I thought something that was interesting, the conversation we had, what was it, last week 2 weeks ago about Bennett Warren. David Sanders working at right tackle, Larry Johnson and Brian Grant working right tackle with David Sanders. So I don't know if Bennett Warren was working the left side. I read this. All these notes that I've got are coming from VolQuest, they're coming from Go Vols 247, they're coming from Rocky Top Insider. Nobody said where Bennett Warren was working. But to hear that Larry Johnson, Brian Grant working right tackle, my question is Bennett Warren working left tackle behind Lance Hurd? But also interesting, Wendell Moy Jr. working left guard, Sam Pendleton working right guard. Doesn't surprise me there. What I thought was interesting, Sham Umarov working left guard, Gage Ginther sliding inside and working left guard. And then at right guard, you had Sam Pendleton. You had Jesse Perry sliding inside and working at right guard. You also had Aiden Bussell working at guard, William Satterwhite, Max Anderson, and freshman center Nick Moore all working at center, man. And look, man, William Satterwhite, blue chip prospect. Max Anderson, blue chip prospect. Nick Moore, blue chip prospect. You can see, and again, it's not just recruiting. You also have to develop. But, man, when I run down some of those names that are on that offensive line, they were blue chip prospects. Now,
yes, sir.
Glenn Ellaby, you're on the hot seat. It's time to show me what you can do with it. Any thoughts about Gage Ginther was interesting to me, sliding to the inside. Jesse Perry also.
I like it. You know, he's a big, powerful body. He pulled well at tackle. We like to talk about how Heupel loves his offensive tackles to be able to pull. But, you know, your guards also do it too, right? So he was always very mobile for a big tackle and gives you some oomph on the inside. So I'm excited to see how he can develop there. I think it's an interesting little slide inside. So, yeah, we'll definitely be watching that. And then, of course, everyone knows how important that center position is. And we'll see how that develops. I think we all feel like Satterwhite's got the leg up, but who knows? Maybe even freshman Nick Moore, who is feisty, low to the ground, low center of gravity, butt down type of offensive lineman. So be interesting to see how he develops too as a young player with a lot of strength coming out of high school.
A couple of other notes that I just took in, Dwan Morris up to almost 200 pounds. That's good to see early. Again, guys in shape, ready to go when spring ball rolls around. What else? No real position changes. I know this is something you had mentioned. Caleb Beasley looks like he's going to be working some at safety. Christian Gass, worth noting. Recruiting sites everywhere had him as a linebacker. Tennessee roster, he is listed as a defensive lineman. We'll see what happens there. Boo Carter, while the media was in attendance, was on the defensive side of the ball, did not take any snaps on offense. But we know how Josh Heupel is. Josh Heupel ain't showing you nothing. He don't want you to see Boo Carter. I bet the media, I bet Boo Carter is never on offense while the media is in attendance throughout the entire spring, maybe even throughout the entire fall.
Yeah, you're not going to see that. You're going to see that behind closed doors in practice. And you know what? You're probably going to see it sparingly against Syracuse, right? You might see a rep or two or three, but I think you kind of take the lid off in that Georgia game with Boo Carter and do all the little fun things you want to do with him. I certainly would give him some, reps in the Syracuse game and the pushover game, but basic comeback routes, little speed outs, whip routes, things like that. I'd save all the fun switches and combos for the big game in Georgia.
You think we see anything crazy? I mean, because we talk about offense, you think, they're going to play him in the slot. I mean, Boo can play running back. He can play wide receiver. He could take direct snaps, man. He could be in there in some type of wildcat package. You think they get really creative with it, or do you think it's we're just going to get him some snaps on offense?
Man, I hope they do get really creative with it. I would love to see him at running back, get a look at what kind of front we're going against. We like him at running back. Maybe run a little speed option with him and Nico, right? Maybe you split him out, send him on a wheel route or whatever you want to do with him. I think you could have a lot of fun and creativity with him. I think we could use Boo Carter in off-ball, kind of like orbit motions, a lot like we like to use Jalen Hyatt. The LSU game comes to mind with how we motioned Hyatt around and moved him into space. I think you could use him much like we use Jalen Hyatt in that way with Boo Carter. So it'll be exciting to see what they do with him, man. And I think everyone wants to see our play calling and our coaches kind of get back to the roots, right? And have a little more fun and not be so tight.
We are going to take a listen to Josh Heupel's press conference from this morning. We're going to treat it like a Monday morning live throughout the course of the season. So we'll pull that up. We'll go through it. We'll pause. We'll talk. We'll let you guys guide the conversation. You guys want something you want to talk about, you know what to do. But we got 156 people watching. Can we get it to 250? I don't think we can. And that's why I always set these numbers. I set the numbers where I don't think you guys can achieve it. And then I don't have to give away a free shirt. And then I save some money. That's the key here. That's how we set the goal. So we're going to set it to 250 because I don't think you guys can do it. Smash the thumbs up. Share out the link. If we can get 250 people in here watching live, we'll give away some free merch. How about it? Share it out. Put it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, MySpace. Change your top 8. Put me and Coach Jay up there at the top, and then maybe change your song to Rocky Top. There, that sounds good. Let's take a listen to Josh Heupel. Dude, were you a MySpace guy?
I was like super late to it, and I think I had like a page like a month before it became uncool. So, like most things, social media, I was very late to the party.
Brian Allison's been a member for 31 months. Appreciate you, Brian. Thank you for the support, my friend. All right, let's take a listen to what Heupel said, and we'll pause and react throughout the course of
it. Man, it feels like I haven't seen you guys in a long time. Man, it's been rough. Been waiting.
Hey, he doesn't sound sick. Not coughing.
I'm sure you are.
Maybe he's finally over COVID.
Good to have all of you here, first of all. But great to get on the grass here as we start spring ball. You guys have had really good winter. A bunch of new guys, 27 new guys, 23 freshmen inside of our program. A lot of young guys, just on our roster in general, and proud of what they've done. Just strength, conditioning, the build up, the lead up to spring ball, starting to get a grasp of what we're doing on the football side as well. Today's day one, as you would expect, great energy, but guys played hard too. There's going to be a bunch as we go back and watch the tape that it's the beginning part of the journey, and challenge those guys after practice, man. It's about consistent growth. It's about not making the same mistake twice and learning how to play the way that you have to. And that starts with effort, attitude, and playing tough. And we'll continue to grow on the smart side of it as we continue to go through spring, but in the lead up to kickoff as well. But really proud of what they've done in the beginning part. The first quarter of our off season here as we kick off the second with spring ball. Excited about where we're going. So I'll open it up. Some questions from y'all.
Talking about it is a young football team, and last year, we had all that veteran leadership on the offensive line. Something excites me about young blood, fresh blood, new guys, right? Like that's what me and Kaner talked on his show that he put out this morning. Is like the wide receiver room. Like, yeah, it's all fresh faces, but guess what? We didn't lose a lot of production, so I'm excited. Who's a young guy? A young guy on offense, young guy on defense. It doesn't even have to be a freshman. It could be a sophomore, just a young guy on each side of the ball that you're freaking excited about.
On each side of the ball? Yeah. It's really easy. Go to the obvious ones, right? But let me try to go a little less obvious, just, to buck the trend, if you will. Because, instantly I want to go to like Spillman, right, or Jordan Ross or something like that. It's really, really easy to go there. But on the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to go to someone that we only saw in one drill on the tape, but I really liked his footwork. And if he has a good spring, I think Boogie was really high on him out of high school. Marcus Gorey, the DB, looked really, really calm, has really, really smooth feet, really, really smart player. I'd like to see if he can develop on that in that secondary and become the weapon that I believe he can be. On the offensive side of the ball, I'm going to go Braylon Staley, Boogie. The kid looked like he was carved out of stone when I saw him. It really surprised me because he was really, really thin last year, but he looked solid as a rock coming out. And that really excited me because I think he's got special speed. I think he's going to get a lot of opportunity and almost be the forgotten guy. Ethan Davis, I had a note. He looked like a dude.
He did. It's in my notes too. It's the exact same's in my notes.
He was
and
first
Jack
off
Van
the bus.
Dorsler. Jack Van Dorsler looked like a dude.
Yeah, he looked like he's coming off the bus first. Yeah, he looked like a dude, certainly. So I'll go there, but there's certainly more obvious picks on who to be excited about. But I thought I'd give you a sleeper or two.
I don't care. You can say what you want. I can't go away from Edwin Spillman because I think everybody is going to be talking about Edwin Spillman. I think he's too freaking talented. He's too good. I think if he had arrived on campus, he was one of those weird, like midway through the spring enrollees. I think they had to do some extra work. It was him and somebody else. Was it Beasley? It may have been Beasley. Like they had to do some type of extra work in order to get, on campus early, but they didn't arrive till like midway through the spring. I remember sitting there watching the orange and white game last year outside of Neyland Stadium on the big screen with Nelson. And I was like, dude, that's a SEC linebacker. And he goes, Boogie, he just got here. I said, exactly. It's been a long time since we've recruited guys that show up on campus looking like SEC linebackers. So I don't care, man. It may be the easy one, maybe the one I can cherry pick. I don't care. Edwin Spillman, dude. Edwin Spillman. And then offensively, Travis Smith, man, everybody wants to talk about Travis Smith and how he can make an impact as a freshman. I want to see it. I want to be coming out of spring going, dang, man, you got to let the guy play because I have to see it to believe it, especially with this coaching staff. For them to have the trust in a freshman to go out there. And we've seen a lot of wide receivers, and this is part of what scares me because, yes, Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley, Chris Braswell, they've all been in the system for enough time. But it's like you bring in Amari Jefferson. Can he grasp this in a year? Can a freshman, Travis Smith, grasp this in a year? If you go get a guy post-spring to play wide receiver, can he come in and grasp it as a year? I trust Mike. I trust Braylon. But can those other guys that are just learning the system, can they grasp it, pick it up, and be ready to go? Speaking of Braylon, here comes Brian. What's up, Brian? Yo, what's up, Boogie and Coach Jay? Talked with Braylon last night. He couldn't sleep. Ready to get started today, man. I am so – this is the last text I sent Braylon. I said, man, I am excited. It's like your time. It's your time to shine, and I can't wait, man. I can't wait for him to have that opportunity. Aquatic Ghost, been a member for 14 months. We appreciate you, brother. Timothy McGee for 2. Says, what's up, Coach Jay? What am I, chopped liver? Timothy McGee? I guess I'll allow it. Sean Cross is here. He drops a $5 super chat. He says, sup. He's tucking his tail between his legs. He messaged me Sunday and said, Boogie, are you playing tonight or Tuesday? I said tonight. He never showed up. Coward. That man is a coward. All right, let's get back to it. Let's see what else Josh Heupel had to talk about this morning.
Josh, you've got George McIntyre out there. When you have a young quarterback like that in his first practice, a lot of information, a lot of pace, what's your advice to him about how to process all that early on?
Yeah, it's just the beginning stages for a young quarterback. So, recognizing signals, how to communicate. It's at the line of scrimmage when we're in tempo. It's, dead ball situations, the huddle, the sideline, learn how to control and command all of those things. You work on that in the lead up, but once you get helmets on and we're out on the grass, it's a little bit different. Today did a really good job understanding structure of defense. Where are you taking your eyes? That's pre-snap, post-snap, and then your fundamentals got to play into being consistent and giving yourself a chance to be accurate with the football once you make a sound decision. So, man, I just listed off a lot of things that got to happen. It's day one, like what he did today, but there's going to be a lot of growth here through spring ball. I always say this to our young guys, first time out on the practice field with us as you start spring ball, man, first 5 days, man, it's happening fast, right? The calls, formation recognition, the speed of the game, it's all faster. Second 5, you kind of find your groove, and if you're doing it right, by the time you get to the end of spring ball, you're a dramatically different football player than you were at the beginning. So just understand that you just got to continually invest, and you'll reap the rewards as you go through the process.
Yeah, I will say this about GMAC, Boogie, and listen, when you're running 80-20 warm-ups and we're getting those video clips, just know that I put like less than 1% value on what you can pull from that, right? So just I want everyone to understand that, right? But GMAC sent like the splits were different, right? In the limited throws I saw from him, the splits were much wider and he didn't quite have enough oomph on his quick outs. but we know he's got a huge arm, right? We know he's going to get that solved. It's just an adjustment. Everything's an adjustment when you're moving from high school to college. Everyone's bigger, faster, stronger, the whole ordeal. Playing with wider splits, it's just an adjustment. So don't be surprised if you see that adjustment period for GMAC. If it takes a maturation process like it took Merklinger, that's to be expected early. And certainly you can't take too much from it in these little snippets that we're getting.
And what's funny too, like I saw a lot of people on the VolQuest message board saying, "Oh, this person looks slow. That person looks slow. Amari Jefferson looks so
They're
slow."
not running full speed.
And I think
jogging.
AP came in and said that it's not they're not going 100% today. Then on top of
No.
that too, man, and I'm not making excuses. It's just funny, dude. It's like 35 degrees this morning. It's like 35 degrees. They just got out there on the grass. They're not going 100%. But look, it's still spring ball, and I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited, like hearing them ask questions about GMAC, because it's like, it's the same type of excitement we had for Nico, right? And I get it. They dropped his ranking because he didn't throw enough in shorts, and they didn't like it. They dropped his ranking. I'm still going to call him a 5-star. What's it going to look like if Nico is back next year? What's it going to look like if you've got Nico, QB1, you got Jake out there, you got George out there? Oh, and by the way, we're talking about Faison Brandon's first spring camp. It's like, man, when you recruit quarterbacks like Josh Heupel is recruiting quarterbacks, you set yourself up for success. And I don't care if it's Nico, if it's Jake, if it's George, or if it's Faison. One of those guys is going to be the alpha. One of those guys is going to take over. And one of those guys, I truly believe, is going to lead us to the promised land, man. I really do think it may be this class of 26 coming up. I don't know. But, man.
Well, it just puts you in a strong situation. You'll be in a situation at that point where, if Nico stays, so what, Merck's a redshirt freshman this year, right? Did he keep his red shirt?
He's listed as a redshirt freshman, yes.
Okay, yeah. So if Nico stayed next year, he's a redshirt sophomore. So you just give yourself a little more age at that position, right? We had to start a redshirt freshman last year. It's just more time in the system, more time to get acquainted, more time to grow older, smarter, wiser, more familiarity with the system. It just puts you in a better position of strength. It also gives Merck that extra year to grow, to get better. And of course, if you have Faison walk in and he's a freshman phenom, then he can obviously seize that position. But it certainly would make you really feel good about your quarterback room and the fact and the idea that you could find a real gem out of those three choices.
And that is when we talk about a rebuild and what Josh Heupel took over. That's what it's all about. Like, as Tennessee fans, we don't care who it is. So when you stack 4 to 5 years of talent across the board, wide receivers, offensive line, defensive line. Look what Rodney Garner's done with that defensive line, man. It's just lock and load and repeat, and let's go be the best defensive line in the country again. Like that's what you're seeing Josh Heupel do. And that's why, man, maybe they go and go 9-3 this year. Maybe they lose to Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. Let's not freaking panic. Let's not burn the program to the ground. Let's keep recruiting, and let's go try to be better in 2026. That is what this thing is all about. Rocky Top Time, been a member for 26 months. It says Big Orange public service announcement. Do yourself a favor if you haven't already. Like and subscribe. Best money you can spend. Appreciate you, Rocky Top Tom. Thank you for 26 months of being a member of this channel. All right, let's hear more.
I realize every team is different, but when you have a large young group that's come in like this and you're replacing a lot of veterans who have left your program, do you manage a spring different? Is your expectations any different? How do you go about so much youth compared to maybe a team that's more veteran laden like you had maybe last year?
I do feel like, first of all, in college football, there's always a cycle, and typically you end up, having a bunch of young guys inside of your roster. That's been the case for us since we've been here. This group of young guys have been really mature. I'm talking about their approach, how they've handled, off-season workouts to, what daily life looks like as a college athlete, the extra things that they got to do to give themselves a chance to be prepared for day one out on the practice field, let alone what's coming as we continue to grow through the spring. it's been a really positive group. They've blended into the culture, the expectations of accountability and building trust, and how we attack everything that we're doing. They've handled that really well. There's a bunch of young guys on our roster, and when you go through spring ball, man, it's about fundamental development. It's about technique. It's about learning how to play from snap to whistle. It's learning how to reset from play to play. There's a ton of growth that has to happen, but we have a ton of growth that we got to take them through. And it starts with all of those things to get them to where they need to be. And, we don't kick off until, I don't know what the date is, but September. There's a long journey that we got to go through, and they got to grow through that.
Yeah.
I don't know that I necessarily feel that way. I think the amount of mid-years, compared to a decade ago that you have, helps them, get comfortable and assimilate to what's going on as a collective group, versus, maybe 5 guys that were coming in at that time. It feels like they're with their class, which I think is a positive thing for them. The process that we go through during the winter, I think helps give them a chance to continually grow into the lead up of spring ball. We're day one. It is day one in helmets, but they feel like they're prepared for that moment too.
I was thinking about that earlier, like the early enrollees, like him talking about, the first 5 spring practices, how fast everything goes, and then it starts to slow down. But it's like, man, the game has changed. Like I think almost everybody in that class of 25 was an early enrollee outside of maybe 2. I can't remember the exact numbers. My poor wife, because she hates it. She hates the early enrollee thing every time I talk about it. And it's like we were watching my daughter cheer at her last basketball game of her junior season. And I'm like, poor George. George should be playing his last high school basketball game, but instead he's at the University of Tennessee, slaving away, working for Josh Heupel, missing out on all these opportunities. My daughter goes to a dance. I'm like, poor David Sanders. He should be getting the opportunity. She gets so mad. It's just, when you think about guys giving up, like think back to high school, man. That last semester of high school is a party. It's just one big party. You load up all the easiest classes. You're hanging out with your boys. You're living life. And it's like, they're missing out on that opportunity, but on the flip side, huge advantage for Josh Heupel in the football program.
Yeah, I think if you're lucky enough to be able to play football at the University of Tennessee, you give that the respect it deserves, right? Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The last, semester of high school, I know I kind of, I think I was scheduled to be at school from like 8 to 10 or something like that, right? So I just go pop into classes, if I felt like they sounded interesting or had someone I wanted to talk to in that specific class or something like that. And I also lived right across the street from the high school, so there was kind of always a big hangout and party going on at my house because you could literally throw a baseball and hit it. So a lot of fun. But hey, man, if I had a ticket to go to the University of Tennessee and play football, I would be dead serious, all bought in, all sold out, and send me there immediately. Let me get that head start. Let me get to work. Let me go live out my dream.
And looking at the way David Sanders looked, looking at the way Jack Van Dorsey looked, I think they are taking it serious and taking advantage. I took a graphic arts class. I was talking about this the other day. I never took a test. I never had a book. I never even did an assignment and made an A in that class. There was never any work done in the entire class. He ran it like a business. He would sell T-shirts and he had like a handful of people that did the work. Anyway, let's talk Tennessee football. Timothy for 5, but Boogie. Our fans don't have any patience, especially since we are paying them and they underperformed. Did we underperform? Did we underperform in 2024? Because I seem to remember most of us thought 10-2 college football playoff. And man, I remember the exact conversation before the playoff game. If we get bounced, if we lose in the first round, goal achieved, make it to the playoff. Did we underperform, or were we where we were supposed to be and everybody freaked out after the loss because of the way it went down?
Yeah, I remember we go back to the episode, we took a vote and it was like, I think it was like 98, 99% of the people were like, it's over, season success. We made the playoffs. It's a win. Now, if you mean underperform because the team's offense wasn't 22, then I guess you could say they underperformed, right? But if you could also look at the defense and say they overperformed on the year, right? So it depends on what angle you're looking at. And, all that kind of stuff is certainly subjective in my point of view. But I believe that we were all on the same page for the most part, that the goal was the playoffs and that goal was met. So unless I'm missing something, we were kind of on target.
I'm so over the Negavol Sunshine Punt. It's such a lazy. It's like so. It stems from that stupid Facebook group. That's where all this stems from. But it's so exhausting. It's like the negative side can't wait for Tennessee to lose so they can come in and say that they were right. And then the other side of that, it's the arguments get so like, because what you just said is you can take it and spin it however you want to spin it. You can make it a massive disappointment, or you can say it's a huge success. It's insanity. It's absolute insanity the way our fan base eats their own. There was a good question that I wanted to hit. Now I lost it. Let me find it. I'm going to go back up and find it here. Where did it go? Dang it. It was a good question. I wanted to hit it. Now I can't find it. I know this is exciting television here. Here it is. Steven says, Boogie, how is Jordan Thomas going to look coming off of his injury? Could we get an update? There are a lot of guys banged up right now. Jamal McCoy, obviously the torn ACL. Jordan Thomas, I believe, was on an exercise bike today. Still recovering, man. He is still recovering from that knee. I know, Coach, you were pretty high on hoping he would bounce back. I don't know that he is even 100% physically ready. So I don't know.
Either.
The answer is we don't know. But he's still dealing with it. It's still nagging. So we'll see. Timothy for 5 says, "Oh, I was talking about Negavol saying if we go 9-3." I know, Timothy.
Oh, gotcha.
Which is why, I say we can't be ready to burn the program ground if they do go 9-3. It's like, I think 9-3 is very realistic. That's very possible for 2025. I think they find a way to beat Alabama on the road. Right now, I'm thinking 10-2. We'll see. We'll see what this roster looks like in the fall. We'll see what the talk is in the fall. But right now, I think this team can go 10-2. If they go 9-3, am I going to be disappointed? Yes. Am I going to be ready to fire Josh Heupel? No. If they go 8-4, I'm going to start to have some questions. I don't want to step back that far.
Just for me, I hate to go back to it, and I hate to put it on one position group, because it certainly won't be, right? Every position group is going to matter deeply, but I could really just see if that offensive line takes a step backwards, I could see us taking a step backwards. If the offensive line takes a step forward, I could see us taking a step forward. And it's not quantum physics, guys. Like Ohio State's quarterback, Miami's quarterback, any quarterback last year, you look at when they were under pressure. Cam Ward was probably the best under pressure. I know Howard for Ohio State was one of the worst under pressure. But when you're under duress as a quarterback and you're under that duress with the offensive line only having to block 3 to 4 players, you're not going to succeed in any game. I don't care if your quarterback is Peyton Manning mixed with Tom Brady on performance-enhancing steroids. You need to have time in the pocket to throw the football. So let's
jump back into it. 175 people watching. Keep smashing that thumbs up. Keep sharing it out. Put it on Twitter, Facebook. Let people know we're live. We would greatly appreciate it. If we get to 250, we'll give away. We'll give away some free merch if we get to 250. 250.
I guess I'll continue the theme of young guys, but David Sanders, we obviously see what he looks like physically. But what's he like, just sort of, I don't say mentally, but as a person, as a player, what kind of person is he like off the field?
Man, super smart kid that very engaging, very personable. He's got a great family. Cares about the guys around him. He's had great work habits since he arrived. Continued to grow. There's a lot of growth for him and every young guy that's come onto our roster. He's put on weight. He's got to continue to do that. Continue to grow into his frame. But it's got great athleticism. Okay. I'll probably ask you for the second question after I answer the first one.
Be amazing if they could fix the audio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like what we've done inside of that room, the portal additions that have experienced some years in college football, body types that we like, both smart guys as far as their ability to process information at the O-line position. Excited, once we get to the pads, you tend to find out a whole lot more about the guys up front. It becomes real football, but really excited about them. The young players that we've added of the last couple of cycles inside of that position room. Really excited about their growth and development. Physically, there's still a lot of that left out there for them as we continue to go through our off season before we kick off or get to training camp. Excited to see them grow on the football field fundamentally in technique in the cycle of college football. We've been fortunate to have Coop and you mentioned Spragues for a long time. But that's the great thing about college football too is your roster changes, and it's exciting to have young guys that got to grow into it and take control and battle and fight and find out who's going to be ready to play at a championship level.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. I get it. Yeah, Coop was great. Spragues was great. What if William Satterwhite's better? What if Wendell Moy Jr. is better? What if Sam Pendleton's better? I drove a Chevy Trailblazer for a long time, and I said it was the best car I ever drove until I got my Jeep. Now that's the best car I ever drove. We don't know. Maybe they're better.
Yeah. Or just healthy and in better shape, right? I don't think Spragues was in great shape last year because of health. We know Lance Hurd was in terrible shape last year because of health.
Campbell was a train wreck.
Campbell was a absolute 100% train wreck. So just getting healthy could really, really help make you right, and can improve not only the running game, but the passing game, right? Giving Nico more time. We all wanted to see more yards out of Nico. We wanted to see him have that best year out of any freshman or redshirt freshman or, anything like that. I think he ended up third on that list in passing yards in QBR. I think he beat out Raiola in QBR, but lost out to Raiola in passing yards for number 2 spot. The number 1 spot, I believe, in both those categories were the Arizona State kid. So, that time will certainly help. We need that offensive line to perform, and we need growth from that position and the quarterback and run game in tandem together.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to correct your verbiage. It's not passing. It's the throw game. The throw game.
My bad. The throw game.
Got to be better in the throw game.
Yeah, always at the end of the day, trying to make, just like you do in the recruiting process, make your roster as strong as you can. Try and do the same thing with your staff, and the addition of Seth, but the other guys that we've hired. Really excited about the experience that they have, the success that they've all had. My relationship with Seth, I think makes it easy in the transition as far as, he's going to be straightforward with me and be able to bounce ideas off of me, just having sat in that chair as a head coach too. And so excited about having him and the other guys here as we started spring ball.
I know we've already talked about it. I've talked about it in videos. We've talked about it, I think, the last time you were on a live stream. We talk about it on Sunday nights when we're playing EA Sports College Football, but I think it's huge, absolutely huge, of the changes on this coaching staff. You've added a special teams assistant and two analysts that all three have head coaching experience. That is huge. Surround yourself with people that know the game. And like he's just saying, Seth Luttrell's not going to have any problem throwing ideas at me, bouncing ideas off me. I think it's huge having more guys more analysts that have head coaching experience. Huge.
Yeah. Just more eyes on the ball, right? More eyes that can have a wider lens on the game, can point out little things that you're missing because you're up in the slop every day with the team. So I love all the head coaching experience that we got around to kind of ease that CEO process, to kind of search out all the little nooks and crannies of what you're missing, all the nuances, all those little inches that make up the yards that you need in football.
Shout out Trevor McNeely, been a member for 30 months support. If you don't have a Power T beside your name and you tune in every day, you say, where's my video, Boogie? Let's do a live stream. Let's do a Friday morning live in the middle of March. If you like what we do around here, want to support, hit that join button. It's right down there beside subscribe. If you're on an inferior product like an iPhone, you have to go to the description of the video. You can roll down and you can click that link. It'll take you to a website and you can do it that way. It's only $1. Power T beside your name. I try to highlight your comments in the chat. When it gets chaotic, man, that's what I do. I highlight the member chat. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you, Trevor, for 30 months, man. 30 months. Appreciate you, brother.
How do you feel about your wide receiver room after the turnover there, and how big is the spring for those young guys there in particular to show that they're capable of taking on those roles?
Yeah.
Now, why is that guy's audio crystal clear? Who gave that man a microphone? Can we not get one for everybody?
He brought his own.
Exists and really like the group. Their physical traits. They're big. They're long, athletic, really intelligent football guys. Really mature. They've grasped onto what we've given them up until this point in a really, really good way. So they did a really nice job out there. Made some plays. Excited about that group.
You talked a little bit about Coop. What do the guys competing at the position have to do in order to take steps toward being as successful as Cooper Mason?
Well, command and control of what we're doing offensively, understanding of defensive structures, the ability to communicate at a really high level and get all 5 guys on the same page. And, that includes, your tight ends and running backs too. And, Coop has done a really good job for a really long time here. We're fortunate to have him for a while. But we got a lot of guys that are, we have great belief in. They got to continue to grow as players, but a ton of competition at that position as well. There'll be multiple guys that are putting their hands on the ball and playing the center spot. But, I think there's, really good competition at all the spots that we're continuing to grow inside of that room.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for youth and competition too. I think a dirty little secret as a coach is, when you got a really seniored out bunch, you go through all the drills, you press them hard and you do work hard and you do want to get better. But when you got a group of young, hungry guys and you got to coach the heck out of them and you got to grind that axe to be as sharp as humanly possible, there's a sharpness to it, right? They're not sleeping in silk sheets yet, right? That they're needing to get up in the gym and work to be great. So there is certainly something to be said for that, not only for players but coaches as well. And it can put a little pep in your step. It feels like Hype's got a little bit of that smile, like the team's young again, the team's fun again. We're growing. We're not grown.
You know what you just reminded me of? This right here. You see, there was once a boxing world champion, and he was set to have a title defense. And he had all the flashy cameras, and he had all the sexy girls around him. But he was going to fight this man. He was going to fight a freaking killer. And Mr. T knocked him out. Clubber Lang destroyed Rocky Balboa. But it's true, man. And I'm not taking shots at Coop in any way, shape, or form. I'm not taking a shot at Cooper Mays. But Cooper Mays was on a snap count last spring. It was laid back. It was chill. It's like, I'm only going to do a certain amount versus, dude, you're young. You're William Satterwhite, and you look over and you got Nick Moore. You got Max Anderson. Those dudes want that spot as much as you. You got to put the work in. And maybe you fight through injuries. Maybe you don't tell anybody about that nagging injury because you want that spot, man. You fired me up with that one. You fired me up with that right there.
Yeah, you're saying you hadn't been hungry since you beat them in 22, Tennessee.
Oh, man. We got to get a
Love it.
Can we get a Mick? Can we get a Mick?
I know. Woo! Oh, they don't have a Mick Funko?
No, I do have a Mick's Gym t-shirt somewhere. Timothy McGee upgraded. He upgraded his membership. He said, Boogie, $1 a month ain't enough. He says, I'm going to upgrade the Talkin VAWLS Elite. If you are elite, if you know, you know. Shout out Timothy. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate you upgrading your membership. Man, you fired me up with that one.
It's true.
And I love Coop. I love Coop. I do, man.
Love
I
him
love
too.
Cooper Mace. But
Love him too.
there's truth to what you just said.
Yep.
Teams across college football have changed spring games up for different reasons. Just what was the decision to have a spring game in New England?
Yeah, it's not just the tradition of it. I do love the spring game opportunity for our fans to be here inside of the stadium, but it's usually a great environment on campus that day. I think it's important in particular for our young players to get a taste of what it's going to be like in the fall, to play in front of a crowd, big stadium. We open up on the road this year. You don't want that to be the first time that they've played in front of a bunch of people. And so that experience, I think it can create urgency, understanding what it's going to feel like as they, finish up spring ball, go into summer. End of the day, we got to accelerate their growth curve, and a spring game in those settings is a part of, accelerating their growth.
Did Dan Porter father a child named Novembre Rain that was half Hispanic that played high school football in Southern California? Because I coached a kid named Novembre Rain in Southern California. I was talking about last night in the Dynasty chat, and I think we found his father, ladies and gentlemen. We found his father. Mystery solved.
See, you're just promoting why. These are the conversations that go down on a Thursday night when we're doing the off season, all hanging out. Man, it was so much fun though. Good conversation last night. What was it, like an hour and a half or something like that? We were hanging out?
Something like that. Yeah.
Good times, man.
A lot
Good
of fun.
times. Join the Patreon. We're starting a new season. Now is the time to come join the Dynasty. You can do that at Patreon. Links in the description. Let's Spider Rico. We're taking it all the way back to Rocky 1. Rocky 1.
Love it.
What's the to-do list for Nico this spring? What do you have on the radar for him for the next step?
Yeah, command and control of what we're doing offensively, better with his eyes, fundamental position to be accurate with the football, leadership. It's the checklist of playing the quarterback position. All of those things, he's got a chance to continue to get better at. Like a lot of what he did, there's some areas that, that I was just talking about that he can be better at. And as a quarterback, a big part of your job is creating urgency for the 10 guys around you to play at a really high level too. That leadership role, it's not just verbally, it's how you're accelerating the mindset and the growth of the guys around you. So all of those things play into what he has been working on and what he's got to continue to throughout the course of the offseason.
Man, I was talking with Kaner for the Locked On Vols show this morning, and he was like, he was putting so much emphasis on Nico being better, Nico being better, Nico being better. And I get it. It's true. He does need to be better. Nico does need to be better. Are you more focused about Nico being better or the people around him being better? I am more focused on I think if the offensive line is better and the wide receivers are better, I think that in turn is going to make Nico look a whole lot better. And I just lofted you a softball, and people are going to be like, oh, Boogie and Coach Jay just defending Nico again. But it's the truth, man. It's the truth.
Yeah. Hey, Nico had bad games last year. He had really good moments too. We've kicked the can around on this channel. We get half the amount of drops, and we're having a lot different conversation, right? About Nico. But even if you pull that out, as you mentioned yesterday, if you look at the other two freshmen that succeeded in the SEC, Lagway and Sellers, you'll find that the math supports Nico as being the superior quarterback of those three. And last time I checked, numbers don't lie. They're just the numbers. So yeah, does he need to be better? 1,000,000%. Does he need to, get a little more on target, clean up some overthrows, be sharper, get quicker, continue to improve? 100%. Was last year the end of the world because he threw for more yards and had a higher QBR than any other freshman quarterback in Tennessee history or sophomore quarterback in Tennessee history? no, it wasn't the end of the world. He had a little bit better of a year than people give him credit for also.
And it just goes back to so much of it goes back to the money. If people didn't know, I mean, there would still be that pressure. 5-star quarterback, one of the top players in the country, still going to be that pressure. But when there's $8 million, and I think Ricky Gibson's going to be facing some of that this fall. Ricky Gibson is going. There are going to be eyes on Ricky Gibson every time he gets beat, every time he gets burnt. People are going to come back to him holding Tennessee hostage. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I would say too about Nico that his lows need to be not as low, right? When he has those bad moments, they need to not be running out of bounds against teams to lose games, right? They need to not be overthrowing a wide open touchdown by 15 yards, right? Because we all know what his highs look like, right? I mean, putting dimes on Brazel, making throws that no one else in the world could make. We all have seen that from Nico as well. It's just when you looked at the overall consistency, it was not where we wanted it to be as Vol fans. And like I mentioned before with the drops, shoot, man, you just give him those drops back. His numbers are right there with Hendon's, but it still just didn't operate as a whole. The offense didn't look like the 22 offense. You don't have to be a coach to see that. You don't have to be a fervent fan to see that. You could be a casual and see that the offense wasn't running as smooth and as clean. And that wasn't all on Nico. A lot of that had to do with the offensive line and overall execution of the offense as a total group together. That is truly what needs to improve if we are going to succeed. Is the offensive line needs to be much, much better. The wide receivers need to cut their drops by no less than 60%, right? Like, and that's being extremely generous. Like, I'd like to see 85% approval in the drop ratio for the wide receivers. But, that all needs to improve in tandem. And then I think you will see those numbers start to happen. Some of that explosiveness come back with a little bit of consistency. Because the more consistent you are, the harder it is for a defense to key on you, right? If I know you're making mistakes downfield because I can pressure you, because you have drops, because you have overthrows, then guess what? I can be a lot looser with what I'm doing on defense. We all know it's harder to score in the red zone, right, Boogie? Why is it? Because you're playing up with a extra defender, right? The back of the end zone.
Right.
If I know that's you're always playing with the back of the end zone because of drops, because of overthrows, because I can get to your quarterback with pressure before you can throw the long ball, before you can throw the deep developing post, right? Before you can throw the deep developing levels, switch routes. All this is problematic, and all this causes me as a defense coordinator to lick my chops when I'm playing you.
Fuzzy taking us right back to the conversation we had all year last year. All year. I mean, Josh Heupel, it had to be maddening, man, because that's why this conversation can go in a circle all day long. It can go in a circle because you can put it on Nico for the overthrows. You can put it on the wide receivers for the drops. You can put it on the offensive line for missing a protection. 11 guys doing basic things at a high level. That's what Coach Heupel kept saying. 11 guys doing ordinary things at an elite level. That's it. That's it. Keep it simple, stupid. Block your man. Win your one-on-ones. Execute, man. Execute. Timothy Bertu says, eyes throw to the check down receivers and running backs.
I will say this, and I'll die on this hill because I've watched the games a million times, Boogie. I was frustrated with Nico not checking down the football all the way through the Arkansas and into the Florida game. This got noticeably better on the end of the season, like a million times better. So it's a problem I do believe not completely solved, but gosh, like 90% solved on the back end 4 games.
This is an interesting comment. Dave Morrison says it might not have been revealed, but Nico hurt his arm on that second interception against NC State. Where'd you hear that?
No comment.
Is there an article out about that?
Yeah, no comment.
We talked a lot about that NC State game, man, and how something switched in Nico after that game. And I
go watch that game, guys.
He took a shot. He took a shot in that game. But Dave leaving this comment makes me ask if there.
I will say this. I will say this, guys. Watch every one of Nico's deep passes before a certain play in the NC State game, and then go back watch every other deep pass. And I'll leave it at that, Boogie, so I don't get in trouble.
I'm just curious where Dave is pulling this from. He just says, "Watch the game." That's where I'm pulling it from, dude.
Very good eye, Dave.
Again, rewind time and go back to conversations that Coach Jay and I had every Friday on this channel. And I kept saying, Coach, something changed in that NC State game. I said, was it confidence? Was it a lack of trust in his offensive line? Something changed in that game. So interesting point there, Dave. Thank you for sharing, my man. Destination drops a 20 spot. We'll play the clip.
Rocky Top!
Says, thanks, Boogie, for all you do for the Vols fans and the guests for the new kid. Hashtag next 5-star QB kid. Oh, is this my buddy? Is this no wonder it's a different YouTube name. I told you about this, Coach Jay. I did a gender reveal party announcement video, and I was wrong. I guess, girl, it was a boy, but we had some fun, man. He said he played the clip at the gender reveal party, and he said his wife thought it was hilarious, and all the guys there were blown away that I sent in a video, but it was fun. So congratulations. Appreciate the super chat, my man. Brad also drops a 20 spot. We'll play the clip again.
Rocky Top!
Brad says, GBO, man, I'm so ready for the season. Thank you, Brad, for the super chat. We appreciate it. Brad with the top donation of the month, top donation of the day. We appreciate it. Hopefully we'll get to hang out with Brad at the Orange and White game. Fuzzy says, yeah, something happened. He was making throws before that. Tom says, I rewatched the game over and over. I thought Nico was severely injured. Was worried about him after that. Gregory says, body slammed. Dave says his arm was bent back like Carson Beck's arm during the SEC championship. I mean, let's just say Nico did get hurt, and let's just say that the coaching staff, the medical staff did keep it quiet. If that did happen,
do you think Heupel would do something like that, Boogie?
How does we're talking about a guy that Brew McCoy's leg got turned around backwards and he was not on the injury report. So probably. How would your opinion change of Nico? How many times have we heard this about quarterbacks? Jarrett Garantano played an entire season hurt. These guys play hurt. It stays under wraps. How would your opinion change if you knew what the truth was? How would you feel? What would you be putting on Twitter if, say, allegedly what Dave's saying here, that Nico played the whole season hurt? How would your mindset change? How would the things that you put out into the public space, the things that you tweet out, the things that you say, how would that change if you knew the truth? We never know what's going on behind the scenes. We never know what's going on behind the scenes. And kudos to Josh Heupel for keeping things behind the scenes.
Amen to that.
Yeah, Mike's had a really good offseason, just physically continuing to grow into his frame. He's as healthy as he's been right now for a long time. Just during the course of the fall, kind of got nicked up early, late in the summer. Kind of, re-injured himself a little bit in training camp and, kind of fought through the injury bug a little bit during the course of the season. In year two for him, growth of controlling his mind, how he approaches everything every day. He's really matured in a really good way. And so I'm excited about what he's done up until this point in the offseason, but really like, what he did today on the practice field. And we have high hopes and expectations for him.
Window after spring. How do you manage like coaching football and managing a roster at the same time? Do you delegate? Do you separate your time? How do you do that?
Of course, Sparks is going to come in with a banger and talk about contract negotiation.
Man, college football kind of has been this way. I don't know how many years now. It's been long enough that I can't count them. Like when we're doing ball, it's about ball, and you get to the back end of spring, portal opens up, and then, you turn your attention to those things.
Yeah, you I will say this, like I don't have to deal with it, right? Like on the level that Heupel does, obviously. I I would think if I were in Heupel's position, I would have to completely separate it, right, Boogie?
Yeah, I mean his answer, I
Like
think, was spot
literally,
on.
like
Balls,
snap
ball.
clear. Yep. Am I froze or is he? Can you hear me, chat? Is Boogie Okay, Boogie's frozen. Okay. All right, guys. If Boogie, let's talk for Boogie with his frozen face right now. What's he saying? Ah, Coach Jay, you're so awesome. You are the smartest football mind that has ever existed, and I really, really think that you're an amazing person, human being, and I'm gonna start paying you $500,000 a month for being on the channel because I really appreciate everything that you do all the time. Oh, he's not there anymore. I can't talk about him anymore. No, but hey, hey, listen, guys. I just think that it would be incredibly difficult to separate those things, but you've got to, man. Like, if you're gonna hate a kid because he's negotiating, or you're losing a negotiation, or you had to pay him more money than you wanted to pay him, you couldn't take that into practice. You would have to snap clear. You'd have to pull through it and find a way to separate it. Otherwise, you're gonna have resentment towards a kid, and you can't have that. That would be toxic on the football field. Those were very nice things you said about me, by the way, Boogie. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. That was what I was talking about last night. I got the frowny face. I got the frowny face just now. Just everything locks up. I get a frowny face on the screen. And I wish you guys could hear what I hear in my headphones when that happens. It sounds like,
Oh, no.
I mean, it is so loud. I'll give you an example. It's just all of you that have
I just thought it
headphones
was
on,
me.
you're welcome.
I
Oh,
thought
wait,
I
did you
was
hear it?
frozen at first. No, I didn't hear it. But when we froze, I assumed it was me because I need to replace my laptop. But good news, Boogie. Side note: I know it's a maintenance issue, but all my new windows and shades have been installed, so therefore I can finally move into the new studio here soon. I just gotta screw in my shelving, and I'm good to go.
Boogie playing like
Side note.
Dauber. You must have roasted me pretty good. Look at all the laughing faces in the chat. Everybody having a good time except for me. Yeah. Maybe I should have bought a $200 laptop from Walmart instead of spending $1,500 on a piece of crap that locks up.
We were talking about how you were giving me a raise from $100,000 a month to $500,000 a month. So
that's why I can't afford a new computer. But I did sell my freaking house. It is done. It is over. It is finished. It is final. Man, we were sitting there Wednesday signing the closing papers, and our real estate agent, she's like, "Are you glad it's finally over?" And I said, "It ain't over until I have a check in my hand." And we're on the way to the bank. But it is over. It is over. It is done. Hallelujah. All right, let's get back to it. We got one more question here from Josh Heupel.
Coach, since the season ended, I'm sure the anticipation was building. What was it like to finally get the guys out on the field today for spring practice?
Yeah, I really do enjoy every phase of the off season. Guys get back, they're excited about getting in the weight room and doing some stuff with them and on the conditioning side. Some football, it's limited during your build up, ramp up during the winter, but now you're back to what we're all here to do, which is go play. And you get on the grass, competition, energy, guys make plays, guys don't make plays. How do you reset to the next play? I love spring ball because it's an intentional time of, fundamental technique. Just you're starting on the football side on the ground floor. You reset every year. So a lot of fun to get back out there with those guys.
It's ball, man. It's ball. It's like you were talking about before the freaking robots took over and destroyed me and gave me the frowny face. Yeah, he separates it. It's ball, and business is business. And that's, and I get it. I see a lot of people comment, and I do kind of chuckle because it's like it'll be in the middle of February, and I'm talking about some kid cutting his top 12 to a top 6, and you're watching the video, but you comment and say, man, I'm so done with college football. It's like, bro, you're watching a recruiting video in February. You're not done with anything. You love college football. And but I do get those people that are like, oh, you've ruined the game that I love. But at the end of the day, man, it's 11 on 11 lining up playing football inside of Neyland Stadium. And I'm freaking here for it, man. I'm here for it.
Yes, sir.
Let's speaking of recruiting, let's talk a little recruiting on the back half. We won't spend a whole lot of time on it, but the dead period is freaking over, man. The dead period is over. Tennessee can now host visitors again. Recruiting is going to pick up, and yes, we're going live every single Wednesday night, 7:00 throughout spring camp. We're going to talk about all the news from the week. We may sprinkle in a little recruiting. We're going to do some recruiting live streams. We're going to do some film breakdowns, some live film breakdowns, because business is about to pick up. Steve Wiltfong put out an update because Tennessee is going to be hosting some 5-star, some elite prospects, some blue chip prospects this weekend. I think the visits are set to take place on Saturday. I got to pull my notes back up, but you know who the main event is, right, Coach? I mean, I don't have to tell you.
Mr. Keys is the key to this recruiting class for Tennessee.
That is exactly right. 5-star wide receiver Tristan Keys will be in town. He's a guy that was, man, a lot of people felt like was trending to Tennessee. He was going to come off the board. Some people thought he was going to commit January, February, but he decided to slow it down. What are your thoughts on Tristan Keys as a player? Again, 5-star wide receiver. You see the On3 industry rankings. Number 1 wide receiver in the country, number 3 overall player. Oh, by the way, we've got a commitment from 5-star quarterback Faison Brandon, which is why I keep going back to this class of 26. If you sign 2 of the top 3 guys in the country in the same freaking class on the same side of the ball, how big is that? But what do you like about Tristan Keys?
Okay, let's start with what I think of him. He's him. Right? Like that's simple. He's that dude. I want to have Boogie press that play button so bad because he's so much fun to watch. He is electric on the football field, guys. He can leave you in the dust. He runs clean routes. He does everything you want a young wide receiver to be able to do. We see him listed here. It's 6'2". I don't know if that's right on 6'2.5", or it's being generous. He's not the biggest guy on the field, but he's going to run clean as can be, right? We see him out here on the edge against inch technique press coverage, and look at the ball skills, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you want to make catching the football problems disappear for this football team in a hurry. Then Tristan Keys is your guy. You can't press him up like that. He's going to get space. You see the fingertip catch, reminds you a lot of a fingertip catch we had against Alabama this year. You see him running tight against the line, just good size at the high school level, but just that quick little turnout right there. Lowers his head, not afraid of contact, pushes through. That's a house call. I mean, this kid makes it look like he's playing against junior All-American kids at the high school level. Just smooth as a baby's behind. Got all the tools. You could throw it to him in open space. You can run the bubble screen. You can run the quick out. He's got every single one of the tools in his toolbox. I think he can be a lot better than Jalen Hyatt was for Tennessee. And those are big words, but I think his play backs it up on the field.
Sounds like Alabama, Tennessee at the top. I think Tennessee's the front runner. I think Tennessee is leading for him. LSU, Ole Miss, Auburn, Texas A&M, Michigan, all in it as well. He's taking visits to Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee this weekend. Also, I think he's already got his official visit set up for June. I think June is when he'll be. I may be wrong on that.
And I know he wasn't included in this visit, but say you're a guy like Hitter, the number 1 running back in the country. Where you want to go if Tristan Keys commits to Tennessee?
Dude, you get the number 1 quarterback in the country,
where
the
you want to go?
Number 1 wide receiver in the country, the number 1 run, and it is a very realistic possibility, man. It is a very, very real. I feel way better about Keys than I do Savion, Hitter, Hyder, however you pronounce it. But
yeah, no, I agree with you. I just think Keys can help you recruit those other high blue chip guys, is all I'm saying. I think he can be that piece that helps you put other pieces on the board. And we'll see if we can get him. We'll see if Savion can put that piece together for us and get someone like Tristan Keys there. Great looking player, man. They play good high school ball in Mississippi too. I'm not quite sure which league he plays in, but Mississippi always up there in the states that put up pro NFL players. So, man, that's a special, special kid. And I could go on for years, eons about how much I like Tristan Keys games. There's another kid that I really like in this list, Simeon, Damari Simeon. Great looking kid, fun kid. Um, 6'2", 275, really fast inside hands, strong player. He's got the frame. You can put on a lot of weight, but a low to the ground, keeps his butt low, great moves inside, power player. I like this kid's game a lot. I'd really like to see this young man in the boat.
He's a guy too. I think you're going to see his stock go up. You see the industry rankings listed as a 3-star. It's because 247 doesn't have a profile on him yet. But look at On3, man, 65th best player in the country, 4-star across the board for ESPN Rivals and On3.
Yeah.
And that's why, man, I think his stock is going up. And VolQuest even said that, Tennessee just offered in February, and they are one of the early teams standing out. Top 10 in February: Notre Dame, Ohio State, Duke, Texas A&M, Syracuse, Texas, Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan, and Tennessee. I think he had like 40 some offers, something like that. But yeah, I like this kid. Similar to Tyson Bacon, right?
Bacon.
Tyson Bacon is going to be here. He's going to be here this weekend too. And that's a big thing with this weekend. Not a whole lot of visitors. There's going to be a lot of peer recruiting because I think it's big that Tyson Bacon's back in town this weekend too, because he's a guy whose stock went up. Now here come the other programs after him. Tennessee's having to work to keep him in the boat. But I see the similarity there. And then too, man, Faison Brandon will be here. Tyreek King will be here. Carson Snead will be here. And they're going to be all over Tristan Keys. Peer recruiting Tristan Keys. Let's just go down the list. We'll look at let's see. Who do you want next? Joey O'Brien or Zach Groves?
Let's go with O'Brien.
4-star athlete out of Pennsylvania, but Tennessee recruiting him. I think most programs recruiting him to play safety.
Yeah, and look, he can play a lot of different spots on the field. I think Tennessee likes him at safety. Another, I feel like I'm repeating, but another really heady football player. And I know Tennessee certainly recruits that way in the secondary. They want their kids to be sharp mentally and kind of understand things. But this is a kid who can come up and stop the run, who can wipe away the deep ball, great length, good feet for someone as long as he is. But, you can line him up, you can blitz him, you can drop him back into coverage. Fun-looking kid. It'll be interesting to see if Tennessee can, close on him. It's a big step whenever you can get them on campus, certainly. So that's nice. But another kid where I think we've been spot on our evaluation, and I really would love to have him because that safety position has been a position of concern for Tennessee. And I think this kid can certainly be an eraser back there.
We talk a lot about stacking recruiting classes. Something I see AP say all the time is stacking visits, right? Stacking visits. And that's, you watch the way that recruiting plays out, try to get them here in the spring. You try to get those officials scheduled for the summer. But Joey O'Brien's a guy that Tennessee is stacking visits for. He was here last year for the Florida game. Good to get him back on campus for spring, but he's also got an official scheduled for June the 13th. Tennessee, Penn State, Clemson, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Oregon. VolQuest update. Vols made him feel like a priority. Getting back to campus unofficially from Pennsylvania during the spring is another step in the right direction for Tennessee. Man, I know we said this a lot last year, that Tennessee cast a wide net, and you look at what Josh Heupel has signed. Blue chip ratio continues to climb, right? Talked about that a lot. Mm-hmm. But you look at the guys that Tennessee is targeting. Man, when we first really started to dive into recruiting on this channel, there was a whole lot of 3-star. Now you're targeting the top guys in the country. You're targeting those legit 5-star dudes. We are seeing not only the guys that you're getting, but the guys that you're targeting. You cast a wider net. You don't have to get them all. You just got to get your fair share. And I think Tennessee's got their chance to get their fair share. Let's hit a couple of super chats and we'll take a look at Zach Groves real quick. Peyton K drops a $10 super chat, says Door Fee. Appreciate you, Peyton. Thank you for the super chat. Gregory C for 10 says awesome show, guys. Cover charge GBO. Shout out, Gregory. Appreciate it, my man. Yeah, I'm actually going out of town. We would have done this probably tonight, but I was like, we gotta go live. We have to go live. And again, schedule Sunday night, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, EA Sports College Football, talking all things Tennessee football. Wednesday night, 7 o'clock throughout the course of spring camp, all the way up to the orange and white game. We'll go live at 7 o'clock. I don't know who's going to be here. I don't know who's going to show up. Again, Nate's got a lot going on. X said he was down. Dauber didn't respond to my text message. That sounds eerily
Not
familiar.
Dauber. Not
He just
Dauber.
he just doesn't respond. It just says read. It's like, bro, your phone exposes you. I can see that you just read the message. So I don't know who will be here, but I do know who will be here. Me and Coach will be here, and we'll see if anybody else joins us. Let's take a look at one more guy that's going to be in town this weekend. Zach Groves, a 4-star edge rusher, in-state kid, Cross Plains, Tennessee.
Yeah, Zach, interesting kid. A lot of speed off the edge, a lot of tenacity, great motor to him. Doesn't have that necessarily prototypical true edge size or weight, but he's still growing, man. Like he is certainly still growing. I know he had a growth spurt recently where he even popped up from where he was. So I think he's a kid who's probably going to show up to campus 6'3", 6'4", maybe 270-ish, 260-ish. If he can kind of grow into that body and keep the speed and the motor that he has, you'll be cooking with grease at that point, because this kid plays hard, plays fast, plays with aggression, and doesn't quit on a play. So good looking kid. Rodney Garner just don't seem to miss on his evaluations, and Zach Groves certainly is another example of that. Good looking kid, man, and let's keep putting those proverbial bullets in the chamber on the edge, because Tennessee's been a special place, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So I would say come to Tennessee and be the next great edge, Mr. Groves.
Good Lord, the number of guys, like this is a guy that I'm really not that familiar with. I've not seen his name a whole lot, not talked about him at all on the channel. He's ranked inside the top 250, man. Like that's an elite dude, and I think he may be a little down on the board for Rodney Garner, right? And it's like, oh, you're taking guys in the top. Sorry, man, we don't have room for you, and you're ranked in the top 250 again. Casting that wide net. Ballquest said, great relationship with Coach Chop. Vols made him a priority, and they are positioned well in his recruitment heading into the spring. Todd Landers drops a 5 spot, says, Dorfy, how's my Vols fam doing today? Fantastic. Todd, it is good to see you in the chat, my friend. We appreciate the super chat. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us on a Friday morning, first day of spring camp. Ball is here. I'm excited to talk about it. Again, I'll be out of town this weekend. If anything crazy happens, I will find my way to a computer. Don't you worry. But I don't know when they're going back on the practice field. It may not be till Sunday, Monday, maybe Monday.
Yeah, I think Monday.
So if anything crazy happens, we'll talk about it. I'll be back in time to stream on Sunday night, so make sure you come hang out for that. And then again, every single Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, we'll be going live talking about spring ball. But we appreciate you guys tuning in. Smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. You can still share out the link, let people know to check out the replay. But we appreciate you guys. For Coach Jay, my name is Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
That we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.